If you think about what can we do to the female population, which is really the glue to the human race's existence. If we left it up just to dudes, we ain't surviving long, and we all know this. And is it funny? Maybe. I love being a guy because I have 3 girls, and I am so enamored and admirable and respectful and humbled by the complexity of the female brain. Women think about so many different areas of men that we have no access to it. So being a man's easy. Being a woman is really hard, and your empathy leads you to worry about a lot of other circumstances that men don't do. So the opportunity to bring this to moms is so gratifying to me.
Hey, it's Jamie Scrimger. When I became a stepmom, I quickly realized that while moms are encouraged to keep it real, there's a big double standard when it comes to stepmoms. So I decided to start the conversation myself. Thriving as a stepmom doesn't just come from conversations about being a stepmom, though. Here, we dive into marriage, relationships, personal growth, and more. My mission? Inspire you to live a kick-ass life while bringing you along as I create my own. This is the Kick-Ass Stepmom Podcast. Hello. Welcome to the Kick-Ass Stepmom Podcast. Guys, this episode is, I know I always say this, but it is a good one. Every once in a while, I have an interview with someone that exceeds my expectations, and this is one of those situations. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you know that I have been using NuCalm to help get better sleep and manage my stress and anxiety for the past year or so. And you also know that NuCalm has been a longtime sponsor of the show. Now, today I'm talking to Jim Poole, the president and CEO of NuCalm. We cover everything in this episode, so I'm going to skip the long intro, but this episode isn't just about NuCalm. It is about life and managing stress and dealing with hard situations and what we can do as individuals to thrive and take control of our own experiences. Now, I must say, listen to the end for Jim's perspective on stepmoms and managing those stressful experiences that can come up, you know, like awkwardness at the hockey arena and more. He's a funny guy. This episode, like I said, totally exceeded my expectations, and I'm excited to share with you. Let's dive in. I'm excited to dive into this today because here's the deal. I love NuCalm. It's become a part of my daily routine every night before bed, for sure, 100%. And then, throughout the day. But I don't fully understand what's happening. I just know I feel better.
Yes.
So I was really excited to chat with you just to learn more about the history of NuCalm, a little bit about you, how you started doing this, and just kind of go in from there.
Well, I assure you with great confidence, when we're done, you're going to know even less about how this works. So that's just the application of the neuroscience. It's fascinating. And we've gotten to a place where I'm not going to eviscerate your audience with complex neurobiology, but there's a mystical element to it and a myth and a magic and a disbelief. But really what it is, did you have coffee this morning?
Yeah, I woke up earlier. I had a lot of coffee this morning.
Okay, so coffee feels like magic because you go from mental lethargy to, wow, I'm ready. Mm-hmm. It's not a miracle. It just increases the frequency of your brainwave. So if you think about math and physics, if there's a 41 hertz brainwave range where the slowest waveform of delta is sleep and the highest waveform is gamma is high intensity, and in between is stress and fear and anxiety, and then relaxation and sleep. All we're doing is we're saying, hey, we know what we want you to do. If you want to focus, we know the frequency is 18.4 hertz. So we have to bring your brainwave to that state and keep you there. For rescue, we know that 4 hertz is the key to the healing zone just above sleep. So we take you down there and we hold you there. So all we're doing, like a tuning fork, like a vibration, is we're taking your brainwave to a certain place that we know is correlated to a certain state.
Okay.
Now, how we do that takes a lot of science and math and algorithms and physics and stuff that you can't see. The challenge is this. You can't see what we do. You can't hold NuCalm in your hand. And if you can't see it, touch it, feel it, smell it, and taste it, it's hard for the brain to understand what is it. So therein lies the forever challenge of us trying to explain the unexplainable.
Mm-hmm. So how do you do that?
You don't do it because even the brightest scientists, we have 52 of the world's leading doctors on our medical advisory board from NASA, from Harvard. Amazing people. They don't understand it. Mm-hmm. Blake Holloway, the inventor, was light years beyond humanity. He's centuries in the future. So we get to benefit from it. So, really, we don't really explain it with any level of depth anymore. We just kind of walk through, hey, when you're stressed, you do this. Or, hey, when you're stressed, you're not sleeping well. When you're not sleeping well, you kind of feel like this. Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to help you by doing this. So
yeah, I love it. And so can you tell us a little bit about the history of NuCalm? Because it wasn't always available to just the everyday person.
And if you've noticed, now it's available to Canadians with a lot more flexibility. Did you notice that?
I did see that. Oh. Appreciate.
I love Canada and I love serving the Canadian market. It broke my heart that we literally couldn't do monthly subscriptions because the shipping companies, UPS and DHL and FedEx, it was $39 to ship anything. It didn't matter. Mm-hmm. And you're like, wait a second, it's a $49 subscription. I refuse to ask our customers to pay that every month. That doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. So then we changed the disk and moved it back to clinical strength and just went software only. Everybody in the world can use it now. So historically, we were a very complicated 4-component device. It looks like a museum artifact that was put together at Radio Shack and made in East Berlin, 1976. The technology we were first selling, I was like, what is this? This is $6,000. Who would buy this? Mm-hmm. But the outcome was incredible. We literally took the craziest, most stressed out humans on earth and just put them into that state. So we built the business and we had to do regulatory and we had to do FDA and we went through Health Canada, which is even more stringent than the FDA. And then 7 years ago, we began a quest to move from a medical device that was $6,000 to a subscription. Mm-hmm. And we succeeded, which is a miracle in and of itself. So now we get to help a lot more people.
Yeah. And it's amazing. It's funny now, my daughter, every night before bed, she wants it on. She just loves the feeling. And we've never made it through the whole, the first sleep option for deep sleep is 50 minutes.
Yeah.
We've never made it through.
You should move to the 8-hour.
And just have it on all night?
Yes, so first of all, you're sleeping. And what people don't understand is that in the sleep architecture, it's a 90-minute or 100-minute cycle. Okay, so you go through this cycle. But in the night, when you have light sleep, a lot of times our dream may wake us up, our temperature might wake us up, or we have to get up and pee. That's when the riddle happens. That's when people's brains activate. They think, oh, what day is this? Tuesday. Oh, my God, I got all this to do. And then they go back to bed and they can't fall back asleep. Mm-hmm. So what we find with the 8-hour is the first 50 minutes is the pure physics. The first 50 minutes is what's putting you into deep sleep. And the next 7 hours and 10 minutes are keeping you into sleep. So you'll notice your sleep is even deeper. When you wake up in the morning, you feel more restored. And when you get up to pee, if that's, your biology, there's times where I can't even find the bathroom in the house I've lived in for 20 years. I'm like, I don't know where I am. I'm so tired. I'm so in the zone. I get up and I pee and then I fall. I'm like gone. There's a couple times in the last year where when I got up in the morning, I looked in the toilet to see if it was yellow. Because I was like, I don't think I got up to pee, but that seems impossible because I'm 54 years old. I did get up to pee. I don't even remember. So absolutely move to the 8-hour.
Okay. I will report back.
And you'll have even greater sleep efficiency.
Okay.
It's wild. I was talking to an older man last night who's a Hollywood producer, and he said, my wife has a sleep issue. I've never had a sleep onset issue, but Jim, it's unbelievable what's happening. I said, I told you. I said, just because you're asleep, you don't know what's happening. We can fill in all these gaps.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about, maybe you've got all the stress of, dealing with kids. You're maybe dealing with co-parenting stuff, dealing with an ex, dealing with legal battles, all the things. Let's talk about how NuCalm can help you manage your stress throughout the day.
We're a neuroscience company. We've been around for 33 years. And our intention has always been, let's figure out a way to manage brainwave function so we can help people change their state on demand with no drugs. Mm-hmm. Now, it seems easy in concept, but anytime you're going to effectively, safely, and predictably manage human brainwave function, it's a Herculean effort, okay? So for us and the opportunity for me to visit with an audience of entrepreneurial women and stepmoms, it's an honor for me. Mm-hmm. I grew up in dysfunction. I grew up where my mom was 19 years old and was married and had twin boys at 19 years old.
Oh, wow.
By 21, my parents were separated. So here's my mom at 21 years old with two twin boys. So in that journey, I grew up with my twin brother, with a young mother who was growing up with us. I wasn't born into a mature family unit. I was born on a journey of a 21-year-old trying to figure out her life. So we actually went through the process of several different family iterations. Because my mom, as some neuroscientists or psychologists say, her picker was broken. She kept picking the wrong people. So I've had several stepdads. I had several stepsisters and brothers. The first one, when we were 5, we went into a family of 6 kids, became 8 kids. So a unit of a mom and 2 twin boys now had 6 kids, a dad, 8 kids in total, and 2 dogs. That was chaos. That didn't work out. I don't know why, maybe. Maybe too much stress. And then later in life, about 13 or 14, we had our next family unit, which had 4 mature, older stepbrothers and sisters who were about 10 to 15 years older than David and I. So I'm very familiar with kind of the strange psychology, the constant stress, expectation, anticipatory anxiety of interactions with folks, missed expectations, historical family stuff that they use as inside information to make you feel like an outsider. There's a lot of complexity to the stepmom and stepdad world. And then add on top of that, the hormonal dysregulation of children when they go through puberty. Hello? I mean, there's a lot going on. So for us, we have a gift. We have a gift from an angel. The angel's name is Blake Holloway. Blake Holloway was by far the brightest human I've ever met. Now, my background is unique. Everybody's is. But along my journey, I went to Harvard Medical School and went for an MD, PhD in applied neuropsychobiology and neuropsychopathology. I stopped that and went to business school and then ran a bunch of companies all over the world. So I've been surrounded with smart for a long time. I've never met anyone as smart as Blake. But the gift Blake brings to us is not just his intelligence. It was his compassion, his heart, and his determination to find a better way. So he had a clinical practice in Texas that served trauma victims. Predominantly about 60% of his client in 40 years came out of the theater of war. In the United States, California, Florida, and Texas have the highest number of veterans. And unfortunately, we've had enough wars where people are coming out. And regardless of how you look on the outside, your brain can't process the information that you are exposed to in the theater of war, period. So everybody has some level of trauma and PTSD. So he had that profile of client. And then he had the female abuse victim, sexual, physical, violent, whatever that is. And the traumatized brain has a unique set of challenges. And of the 7 diagnosable anxiety disorders, it is the hardest profile to live with because the traumatized brain has shifts in your brain physiology and it lacks blood flow to certain key aspects of your brain, mostly the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex. So that brain then has to live with the constant fear and vigilance of the trauma that constantly repeats in their mind associated with the physical fear. Okay. So if that's the profile of people he wants to help, he was determined to find a way that wasn't conventional therapy. Today, when a veteran goes to see a therapist, they give him a narcotic-based pharmaceutical. It's not helping the problem. Mm-hmm. It's masking the symptom. You're not helping me. You're just kind of dulling my senses so I don't feel that constant worry. And then engaging in cognitive behavioral therapy to a brain that's constantly fearful. Think about the last time you were in fear. You're not thinking. You're not present. You're in survival mode. So Blake spent 19 years of his life, 19 years, trial and error, discovery, invention, moved to Russia to study stimulation devices, did anything he could to figure this out. And when it was all said and done in 2009, we launched a highly regulated FDA $6,000 class 3 medical device to the medical community with the expressed intent of taking anyone's brainwave and just slowing it down into alpha, which is creativity, relaxation, and then more importantly, into theta, a slower brainwave form that's associated with healing. Now, why is it associated with healing? Well, in theta, your cells do 2 things that are really important for longevity that it doesn't do any other time of day. It cleans the toxins out of your cellular structure, doing your cellular maintenance, and it restores your mitochondria, which is the energy source for your cells. That's why, if you don't know why sleep is so important, It's for that specific reason, because our body needs to restore. We can't always go with our foot on the accelerator and drink coffee in the afternoon when we have a lull, or drink coffee in the morning when we're mentally lethargic. We have to find balance, and sleep is the body's primary mechanism for restoration and balance. So what we created was this technology that safely and predictably mimicked the body's natural processes of how your body naturally prepares for sleep at night, and does this in the daytime, and just gives you a forced time out and levitates you in this healing zone. So NuCalm came to the world as a complicated 4-component expensive medical device. And from 2009 to late 2020, we were exclusively available to the United States military. So we've worked with the DoD for 12 years, the Navy SEALs, the Special Forces, Air Force Special Operations Command, Border Patrol, BORTAC, BORSTAR, the FBI, SWAT, you name it. We supported the people that protect us, which is an amazing honor for us and a privilege. And these men and women, they're stressed out of their marbles, and they're constantly in a state of reactivity and hypervigilance. We also served cancer patients, which is some of the best work we've ever done. In fact, 2 weeks ago yesterday, I presented to 42 people with stage 4 cancer. Mm-hmm. And when we were done with my presentation, I stood up and I said, "Do I look happy?" And they said, "Yes." I said, "Do I look confident?" They said, "Yes." "Do I look excited for you?" They said, "Yes." And I said, "Do you know why?" And they said, "No." I said, "Because I know a secret you don't. If we can give you restoration, peace of mind, and calm, and we can give you sleep." Pilots, for 13 years, we've worked with 56 professional sports teams, a lot of hockey teams. I know you Canadian fans, hockey's like life, which I love. And we worked with celebrities, and we worked with doctors. And over the course of the doctor time, we've done over 2 million surgical procedures, replacing general anesthesia with people in surgery listening to our physics. No drugs. That's how powerful NuCalm is. Mm-hmm. So NuCalm was one product with one outcome. Take your brain and put you in the healing state for as long as you need to be. Whether it's 20 minutes, whether it's 50 minutes, whether it's 3 hours. Didn't matter. Your brain knows how much recovery you need. That's that. So we came here from a spaceship to Mars with an incredibly gifted alien being with a huge heart, created this and said, okay, how do we help people? And so that's what we do. So if you think about what can we do to the female population, which is really the glue to the human race's existence. Mm-hmm. If we left it up just to dudes, we ain't surviving long, and we all know this. And is it funny? Maybe. I love being a guy because I have 3 girls, and I am so enamored and admirable and respectful and humbled by the complexity of the female brain. Women think about so many different areas of men. We have no access to it. So being a man's easy. Being a woman is really hard, and your empathy leads you to worry about a lot of other circumstances that men don't do. So the opportunity to bring this to moms is so gratifying to me. Mm-hmm. Because at some point, and I haven't met a lot of females that put themselves first, and it's conceptually, you're like, okay, hey, in the airplane when they say, put the mask on yourself first because you can't help others if you're dead. Well, conceptually, we get that, but our brains aren't wired for that. Mm-hmm. The female brain's not wired for that. So they're going to literally exhaust themselves, making sure everybody else is ready and done before they take care of themselves. So the key for us to get into your life and actually help you is to make it easy. So that's been our quest for the last 7 years. I was just doing a lecture and I thought to myself, the brilliance of NuCalm is not necessarily this really advanced neuroscience and physics and algorithms and biochemistry and all this really cool stuff. That's fun and that's good. The brilliance is we've turned $42 million in 33 years of research into a mobile device. Mm-hmm. So we can get to you because a complicated component, a complicated, expensive product that requires multiple steps, easily find a way not to take care of yourself.
This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Guys, I am going to be super straight with you. I'm in the weeds of life right now. Yesterday, I asked Darren, do you ever feel like life is going to slow down? Do you think it's ever not going to feel so complicated? Because even though I'm someone who prioritizes self-care and spending time on myself, lately I feel like it's been all about work and kids and family and adult relationships. And it just feels So complicated. But that's okay. Life happens in seasons, and during the season, balance is off. But I have really had to check myself because I know from experience that when I spend all of my time giving and doing, it can leave me feeling burnt out and stretched thin. Plus, I haven't been doing regular therapy, and I can feel the difference. Therapy can give you the tools to find more balance in your life so that you can keep supporting others without leaving yourself behind. And as I have shared, therapy has been a huge part of my growth. From diving into my triggers and my past and helping me navigate struggles in relationships and family, to challenging old narratives and finding balance, therapy has been a saving grace. And I am in the process of looking for a new therapist because I felt like my old therapist just wasn't a fit anymore. That's the key to therapy, finding a therapist that is aligned with you. And that's actually one of the reasons why I love BetterHelp. Not only is BetterHelp completely online and designed to be convenient and flexible and suited to your schedule, you can switch your therapist at any time for free. You just fill out a brief questionnaire and get matched with a licensed therapist. And then if it isn't a fit, you go back to the drawing board and you can find a new one. Give online therapy a try at betterhelp.com/stepmom and get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/stepmom and get on your way to being your best self. I have been obsessed with mocktails lately, and I have a new one that I want to share with you. It is super refreshing. It's called the Grapefruit Mint Refresher. Here's the recipe. Half a cup of water, a cup of ice, 2 sprigs of mint, and a half stick pack of Element grapefruit salt. You know I'm a huge lover of Element, which is a tasty electrolyte drink with everything you need and nothing you don't. That means lots of salt with no sugar, artificial ingredients, coloring, etc. Formulated to help anyone with their electrolyte needs and perfectly suited to folks following a keto, low carb, or paleo diet. From professional athletes to everyday moms, it's for everyone. Now, not only am I drinking Element before and after workouts, when I need to rehydrate, when I'm traveling, and after some wine, I now use it to make my mocktails and cocktails. Seriously, throw in some lime salt with some soda, tequila, lime, and mint, and it is also extremely delicious. 100 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. Staying hydrated is crucial and a huge priority of mine. Proper hydration isn't just about drinking water, though. It means having adequate water and electrolytes. When you purchase Element from www.jamiescrimger.com/kickassstepmom, Element is giving my listeners a free sample pack so that you can try all the flavors and pick your faves. That's www.drinklmnt.com/kickassstepmom to get a free sample pack with your purchase. I talk a lot about my morning routine, but my nighttime routine is just as important. When it's off, I notice a huge difference in the quality of my sleep and how I show up the next day. So here's the deal. I love to go to bed early. When we're done dinner, I'm usually completely off of social. I often delete it off my phone so I'm not distracted and don't have that urge. I'll do some reading with Reese, putter around, light a candle, clean up the kitchen, and just set the vibe for the end of the day. When I get into my bedroom, I plug in my phone across the room because I don't want to be tempted, and I get ready for bed. When I'm done reading my book, I crawl out of bed and turn on the NuCalm Deep Sleep Journey. This is what puts me to sleep. The sounds and music is just, I love it so freaking much. NuCalm is such a huge part of my daily routine, and many times I use it up to twice a day. What used to be exclusively available to U.S. military, pilots, professional athletes, doctors, and cancer patients, and used to be a $6,000 FDA Class 3 medical device, can now be yours through an app. It gives you the power to change your state, manage stress and anxiety, focus, and find your flow. Backed by over 33 years of clinically proven patent neuroscience, this technology is so easy to use and so powerful. At night, I use the Deep Sleep Journey, and during the day, if I need a reset, I use one of their daytime journeys. It just helps me refocus, manage my anxiety, find my flow, relax, and really it's just everything I need to help me show up as my best. If you want to neutralize stress, restore sleep, and reach peak performance, you have to check this out. And NuCalm has given a special offer to listeners of the podcast. So just head to www.nucalm.com. That's NUCALM.com and use the code Jamie10 for 10% off. That's www.nucalm.com and use the code Jamie10 for 10% off. You're going to freaking love it. You know, the mental load of the mom or the woman in the home, you know, there's just constantly stuff and to-dos in your head, all the things that you need to take care of. And, you know, I know there's so many women, especially now, they're struggling. And one thing that you said anticipatory anxiety, which I was like, that is just so huge for stepmoms too, right? Because you're almost anticipating the extra stress or maybe a dynamic from the ex or just nothing simple when you're in a step family. Like everything is just have another layer of complications, right? So how do you see, you know, a day-to-day stepmom or a mom or, you know, entrepreneur, just a female using this throughout their day? Like, so give us kind of some tangible tips on when you would put on your NuCalm, like take that break. You know, obviously I've been talking about how I use it before bed. I use it when I need that, you know, just kind of pick me up in the afternoon. I need kind of a reset, but let's talk about that.
Awesome. So you wake up and you didn't have a good night's sleep. So the first thing that I'm going to do if I wake up, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's me this morning.
Yeah, I don't want to participate in today. I want to mail it in. Well, you can't. So the first thing that I would do is I'd go to the bathroom and I would get back in bed and I would do a 30-minute rescue. Why? Because 20 minutes of NuCalm, being in that state of deep restoration and recovery, is equivalent to 2 hours of restorative sleep. Now, NuCalm cannot replace sleep, but humans cannot make up sleep debt. When you have a bad night's sleep, you never get that back. It just accumulates. Well, physics can. We can, in this technology, make up the sleep debt. So if you didn't sleep well last night, the first thing you do is, hey, you want to reset and have a confident, good, productive day where you feel good? Immediately get back into your bed, get on a NuCalm Rescue 30. When it's done, it's night and day. You seriously have augmented the sleep issue you had. So then you start your morning. A lot of people have the ritual of coffee, and it's not just, hey, the feeling, it's the whole ritual and the smell and whatever. But some people have shifted that, and they now use Ignite. So there are 6 channels on the NuCalm app, and of those 6 channels, we can guide you to every aspect of human existence, from the deepest levels of sleep to the highest levels of intensity. So we have a lot of athletes, a lot of military people that now listen to Ignite early in the day and have cut down on their coffee intake, whether they don't like the acid in their stomach or whatever, doesn't matter. That's what they do. Then for the female head of household, entrepreneur, stepmom, a lot of people are using focus throughout the day. So in-ear buds or headphones or whatever, they're doing their to-do list, they're doing their chores, they're out for a walk, they're trying to clean their head. The focus tracks are amazing. Focus is a state that's associated with mid-level beta, and it's between 15 and 20 hertz. And when you put the headphones on or the in-ear buds and you listen to focus, all of your distractions leave your brain because there's no space in your brain left. And you get to a state of high clarity, focus, concentration, comprehension. And you literally hone in like a one-track mind on what you're trying to do. So focus has become a very highly utilized channel on the mobile app because you can do it all day long. There's no downside to being focused. I listen to it all day. If I'm writing or looking at contracts or doing international business, whatever I'm doing, I have focus on all day long because we're all easily distracted. And we think that distractions are, hey, someone's at the door. That's not distraction. Distraction is the sabotage of the reptile part of our brain. Fear, worry, stress, anxiety, depression. That's what distracts us. The human brain can maybe, with exercise and determination and understanding, you may be able to get into a focus zone, but you can only stay there for about 15 minutes before your brain fatigues and you reach diminished returns. Well, with physics, we can take you and put you there. So I'll listen to it, the full focus track for 47 minutes, take a little break, and then put it on again. So a lot of people are using that during the day just to kind of tune out, whether it's the media, whether it's geopolitics, whether it's the weather, the planet, the kids, whatever. Just tune it out, tune in. Then in the afternoon, depends on what your schedule is for your workout. I work out around 3 or 4, which is, I think, detrimental because if I'm going to work out at 4, around 3, my brain starts coming up with all the excuses why I shouldn't go get on the Peloton, right? It gives me about an hour window of just battle. And so I don't listen to that battle anymore. I put Ignite on, and Ignite activates your brainwave to the highest frequency that's associated with intensity, mental, physical, and emotional high intensity. So I use it in preparation to overcome the battle, which I know is coming. What I should do is get up early and work out first, but we're a global neuroscience company. So this morning, I was working with people in Brazil, Vietnam, and Australia. So I kind of have a routine that doesn't allow me for that. So I'll do Ignite with headphones around 3:45. And before I know it, I have my silly bike shorts on and my silly Peloton shoes, and I'm on the Peloton. I will listen to Ignite while I work out. Yes. So Ignite, a lot of professional athletes use that during their cardio, during their strength, because it puts you in a state of absolute certainty. Your lactic acid, all the regions, when you first start running, lactic acid builds up in your quads. You're like, uh-oh, that doesn't feel good. Why am I doing this? Well, when you're listening to Ignite, you just barrel through. So people listen to Ignite for pre-workout or during a workout. Then in the afternoon, say before the kids come home from school, if your kids are younger, or if you have any chance for a respite. That's the beauty of power nap or a 30-minute rescue. That is the key to managing stress, getting in balance, being more available to yourself, being patient, being present, being who you are, and not being worried, anxious, fearful, exhausted, apathetic. The key to health, as we have seen from millions of people using this, is the rescue channel in the afternoon. The body's biorhythm is diurnal. It wants a nap between 12 and 4. But human culture has tried to override that and go get a coffee or Red Bull or Monster Energy and all this stuff that's just so toxic for us. Wrong. Stop and listen to your body. And what you've learned, same thing I've learned. If I give myself 30 minutes of NuCalm in the afternoon, it restores me and repays me with like 10 hours of awesome clarity, productivity. I'm a beast. The second part of my day is better than the first part, and I'm a morning person. That's the value of rescue in the afternoon. When we are working with people who are sick, MS, addiction, ALS, Parkinson's, cancer, their recipe is similar. First thing in the morning, do a rescue. In the afternoon, do a rescue. That's it. We will balance the stress response out. We'll allow you to be patient, present. We'll increase your immune strength. We'll increase your resilience, and we'll lower your inflammation simply by putting you in that rest recovery state. That's the plan. And then you have dinner. And after dinner, you relax or you go for a walk or whatever. And then around bedtime, you know what you do. You put Deep Sleep on in a speaker in your bedroom, and Maxwell's silver hammer comes down upon your head. You don't know how you fell asleep.
So good.
You just fall asleep. There's been 2 instances in the last year where I was watching UFC in bed, which I don't have a TV in my room, so I have my iPad above me. It fell on my face, almost broke my nose because I fell asleep. I was like, done. So that is the recipe for how people use this physics platform, which is perfectly safe. We've done 2 million surgical procedures. We've worked with millions of people for 14 years without a single reported adverse event. We're not doing anything that can hurt you. So that's how people use it. In the morning, if you slept poorly, focus during the day for chores, working, thinking, emails, writing, whatever. Ignite for workout, pre-workout, or during a workout. Rescue in the afternoon. Power nap if you don't have 30 minutes. Power nap is the same physics as rescue. It's just shorter. It's 20 minutes. And deep sleep at night. That is a recipe for being patient. So what I'd like to share with your audience is a quick little understanding of the neuronal circuitry of the brain. What's fascinating is we're never told how the brain works. I would like to know that. I'm a human. I have a brain. I would like to know, how's the brain work? Because I think when we understand how the brain works, we can be less judgmental of ourselves and others, and we can be less critical of ourselves and others. So let's do a little lesson in evolutionary neuropsychobiology. Okay, about 40 million years ago, 40 million, the reptile aspect of the human brain began to form, and the circuitry began to form. And so today, we still call that the primordial midbrain or the reptile brain. and it's managed by the amygdala. Now, people have heard about the amygdala. The amygdala is an almond-shaped piece in your midbrain. That's managing most of humanity. The amygdala. An almond is managing my brain? Yes. So the amygdala and the autonomic nervous system manage the stress response and the rest response. The amygdala and the autonomic nervous system manage fear, stress, anxiety, depression, worry, and it is our fight, flight, or freeze mechanism. So think about all the aspects of the human condition. Our behavior is managed by an almond-shaped piece of our midbrain we call the reptile brain. Wow, that's humbling and a little bit concerning. Now, let's think about the other aspects of our brain. Our forehead. Our forehead, our prefrontal and frontal cortex, is what separates us from primates. Okay, why? Well, in the circuitry of this area of our brain is our patience, our presence, our personality, our character, our executive functioning, our logic, our emotional well-being, our decision-making. Fascinating. So every day, your brain has a battle for resources. Our central nervous system has one defined goal: keep me alive. Nothing else really matters. I can't go up Maslow's hierarchy of needs if I'm dead. So your central nervous system has 5 senses and your intuition. That's how we stay alive. And you'll notice there's no such thing as a second first impression. Why is that? Because every place you go, every minute of your life, your central nervous system is paying attention to your surroundings and looking for 2 anchors: familiarity and security. Why? Because its number one job is self-preservation. You'll notice when you travel somewhere. So you just recently went to Georgia. Okay, when you got to Georgia that first night, you were more tired than you normally would be. Why? Because your senses were peaked, man. We've never been here, and we got to figure it all out. And if you find anchors, it downregulates some of that tension and that stress. But the central nervous system, self-preservation, but the toolbox it has to protect itself when it fears a threat is the amygdala, the almond. So as soon as something happens in your existence, it triggers the amygdala in a nanosecond through a neuronal firing, and it activates fight or flight. Or a thought triggers that experience in anticipatory anxiety, fear, worry. So if we stop and reflect for 1 second and say, wow, when I'm driving and someone almost cuts me off, there's a physiological response that happens. I don't tell my body to respond that way. It just happens. But if I think about it, when someone who I don't like or someone I'm in conflict with texts me, that same response happens. That's how the brain is wired. So the brain is fighting for oxygen-rich red blood. And when the amygdala is activated, it sucks all the resources from your forehead. So we should be less judgmental of ourselves when we know, wait a second, this is how the brain has been wired. And the brain is a perfectly architected survival instrument. We're not in control of this. It's in control of us. Okay, so the key is presenting oxygen-rich red blood cells to this area of our brain and ensuring that we're not easily sabotaged by that piece. That's the value of NuCalm on a regular basis. It will shift oxygen to that part of your brain and allow you to be more present, patient, and the key for any stepmom who just, they fell in love. Why did they have to fall in love with a crazy ex-wife? It's crazy, right? A lot of it's nonsensical, and we can't make sense of nonsensical, but the stress is incredible. Well, wouldn't it be nice if on a daily basis we got to a place where we were patient and present and able to respond to people's triggers? That's what you've noticed with NuCalm. Every day you do this, there's a cumulative improvement in your ability to things that used to agitate you, they don't anymore. You're able to see things different and have perspective as opposed to being so emotionally charged. And we can see the post-COVID era and the media fear-mongering era and the era of poor food supply that's really has us all on edge. We're all hyper-reactionary. Right now in America, there's been a weird spate of just random shootings of 2 girls went to the wrong house and knocked on the door. They shot at them. Yesterday, someone drove, up to the driveway. They shot it. It's like, my wife's like, what's going on here? I was like, it's stress. We're all holding on by a thread and we're not in balance. Now, NuCalm is not the only answer to balance and the survival of the human race. It's not. But I will argue this. It appears to me, as a bystander, that the human race is in a race to erase the human race. So something's got to give. We kind of have to wake up and we kind of have to put the pause button on. COVID came and did that, and now we're starting to get back in our old habits. When COVID came, it gave us a slap in the face that, hey, all the things that used to occupy your attention and make you think were important, they really weren't. Mm-hmm. You may not have been in a job that had purpose. You may not have been in a relationship that had purpose. It really was the perfect reset button. And if we don't learn from that reset, I'm concerned for us, right? So what are the other alternatives? Meditation, yoga, Tai Chi, and breathing exercises. Now, the challenge and the irony is people don't understand meditation. I would suggest they never will. Why? Because the human brain, for all of our intelligence, seems wholly incapable of understanding intangible. If we can't see it, smell it, touch it, feel it, taste it, is it really there? COVID's the same way. Was it really there? Okay. So meditation's interesting. And it is a process. And it's a process most people will fail at because they don't have the persistence, the determination, the patience, and they also don't have the understanding. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. Mm-hmm. How does this work?
And it's very broad too, right? Like there's so many different ways to meditate. There's different apps. There's guided meditations. There's all the things. So I think people don't realize that it's kind of what it is for you. You have to find your own way to meditate.
Yes. What it is down-regulating the monkey mind. Mm-hmm. That's what meditation is. Stop the 1,000 thoughts an hour that are coming into my head, most of them extraneous other people, changing my state. So meditation, yoga, Tai Chi, deep breathing. But what people also don't understand is what's the benefit? What are we trying to accomplish? All you're trying to accomplish is oxygenate the prefrontal cortex. That's mindfulness. When there's oxygen here, you are present in the moment without judgment. That's the definition of mindful. Isn't that fascinating? Mm-hmm. We, as awesome as we are, humans are amazing. We're resilient, we're productive, we're innovative, we're complicated, we're emotional. We have baggage and epigenetics and families. It's amazing. Well, we also have some blind spots, and one of them is the intangible piece. But we can kind of guess today that if we don't get a hold of this stress thing and this poor sleep, not only are we going to die earlier of a nasty disease, but we're not really going to enjoy the journey. Many people aren't participants in their life's journey. They're spectators. They're thinking about the next thing. And so when people say, hey, be patient, be present, all they're saying is be here with me now. We know this. Our kids know this. Before NuCalm, I was never present. I was as ambitious, a type A Wall Street private equity investment banker with a pedigree in wrestling and 2 black belts in martial arts. And my goodness, I was coming at you, man, guns a-blazing, let's go. No, 14 years of NuCalm, I don't recognize who I was. And I've been a participant in one of the most incredibly rewarding journeys that any human being could ask for. I'm so humbled and appreciative of what I do. But every day is something new. Yesterday, for example, just a normal day in my life, I spoke to neurosurgeons in Brazil. I spoke to family office folks who manage exceptional wealth, which is a lot of stress in first-generational and second-generational wealth. I spoke to professional athletes, cancer patients, someone with MS. This is just a normal day.
Mm-hmm. Because we all have stress.
Because everybody has stress. Everybody has stress. That is one of the immutable laws of being human. Stress doesn't take a holiday. If you look at your schedule for next Tuesday, it's not going to say, hey, stress is taking off on vacation. Mm-hmm. Stress is coming at you. Other people's stress is coming at you. I think one of the coolest things to think about as a step parent is, wait a second, how is my reactionary behavior is a result of someone else literally commanding control over me? That drives me crazy. I'm like, I'm not letting that person control me.
Mm-hmm. And I get a lot of questions from stepmoms who are saying to me, Jamie, how do I not let that trigger me? How do I think positively about my stepmom experience? How do I change my mindset around, maybe issues I'm having with my stepkids or with, the co-parenting situation? And, that is a huge problem.
Huge. Now, for the stepmom to the ex, I used to do psychotherapy for the State Mental Health Institution of Massachusetts. So I'm pretty well versed in neuroses, sociopathology, anger, fear, all that stuff. Here's one thing I know. We are barely in control of ourselves. And the more we know about our brain, the more we realize, wow, there's a lot of historical stuff that kind of dictates my behavioral pattern. Okay. So why would we think we can control others? That's a fallacy. It makes no sense. I mean, it's so irrational. So you can't control the behavior of an ex. You can't. So for me as a defense mechanism, when I see this behavior, I just say, that person's effed up and while they're stressed. And when I say while they're stressed, I actually elicit some empathy. I actually feel bad for them. And I just keep them at bay. I compartmentalize it. I can't help that. That's crazy. It's like lioness with a cloud of crazy negativity coming at me with a howitzer. I don't know how to deal with that. So I can kill them with kindness, or I can just find ways to downregulate. We do know this, and the people that call you in know this. If you respond, you build a pattern with that person. You build a relationship of cause and effect. Wrong thing. Because they're looking for a response from you, and that's what feeds them to continue to torture you. You have to be unresponsive. And if you're not patient, present, and mindful, you can't do that. You're going to be triggered all the time. So that's one aspect of it. The second aspect, and I think the most important one, is making the human connection with the stepchildren. You can't change the spouse. You can't. You can just try to figure out how to live with that and help yourself become impregnable and immune to their insanity. Guarantee you this, all of you listening, if you don't respond to their triggers and their behavior, and it happens a few times, you'll see that stop because you're no longer feeding them. They're not getting nutrients from your response. You can do that. You can do that relatively quickly. We learn habits relatively quickly. So say you had 4 interactions with a crazy ex-wife. If you are unresponsive and just, oh, wow, okay, I hear what you're saying. That's interesting. And you walk away, you're stopping that behavioral pattern. And literally, you'll see their brain going, what's going on here? Usually when I do this and I poke, I get this response. Their brain will literally like, I don't understand. You'll stop that behavior. It takes a lot of patience, takes determination. But the children need your love. They need it. That's just life. And even if they're angry and even if they're giving you grief, and it's not fair. I mean, any parent knows this. Parenting is a thankless job.
You should try step parenting.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So step parenting is double the torture. But you are mature. You're emotionally available. And if you take a step back and say, what does this child need? They simply need my attention and my love. They don't need my judgment. They don't need me to impose my ideas on them. They don't need to critique them. They don't need me to tell them what to do. They just need me there. You pull that off and you create a tremendous connection with that kid, and it becomes an anchor because they need that love and support, and they need the lack of judgment because whatever happened in the parental divorce, rest assured, wasn't positive. It didn't create a lot of endorphins and oxytocin and beauty and love and connection. It's a destructive path for a young child who's just growing up and developing. So the advice to any stepmom is compartmentalize the chaos and the anxiety and the challenges with the ex-spouse. Even if they create visceral reactions, if you can feel your lip quiver, or your face get red, or your hair on your neck raise, you have to be more emotionally mature, more patient, kill them with kindness, and get out of the situation. Step 1. Step 2, if you're looking at reciprocity and love and just adoration from a stepchild, you're filled with misgivings. It's not going to happen. So you have to say, what do they need? How can I be of service to this child? Because think about you helping a child. That's what it is. And for that, it's simply be present, be non-judgmental, share love, share enthusiasm, listen. Kids are amazing. My 3 girls are all different, 21, 19 to 16. And my youngest, she's not that communicative until she is. And then she's like this. I'm like, okay, I got to get her while she's hot.
That's like my stepdaughter.
Yeah. I'm like, where does this come from? Okay, I'm engaged. You have my attention because I love listening to, even though your mind is going like crazy. So that is my advice. And the path here is simple. Find time in your life to take care of you. And if you don't, life will take care of you and it won't be friendly. And you know what I'm talking about. You will not be satisfied. As an entrepreneur, And as a stepmom, you have a tremendous challenge of trying to balance and do things well. You're never going to be great at both. That's a physiological impossibility. So stop setting yourself up for disappointment and shame. It's not going to happen. It's just about mitigating how mediocre you are from both ends of your life. Mm-hmm. Same thing for men. I will never be successful like I want to be in any aspect of my life because there's too many things coming at me all the time. And we have to accept this. Okay, I can just be my best. But if I'm present, I'm a better human being. Mm-hmm. If I'm angry, stressed, distracted, impatient, sharp, agitated, not listening, my kids don't want to be around that. My spouse doesn't want to be around that. And my team doesn't want to be around it.
Mm-hmm. So true.
It's fascinating. I could talk to you all day.
I love it. I know I could talk to you forever too, but we're running out of time. Here's my last question for you. So you have a stepmom. She has NuCalm. She has to go to the hockey arena. And it's always super tense when she's around the ex. Okay. What NuCalm does she do before she goes to get herself in the right state?
I'm very paternal. I'm very loyal. I'm very protective. I'll tell you, my first thought is F-U-M-O-F-O. That's my first thought. F-U, mofo. You're not getting me today. That's my defense mechanism. I'm going to the hockey match with, I am impregnable to your garbage. That's you. That's your garbage. You keep it to yourself. What I would probably do is entertain, exercising control over the situation, and I would not sit in proximity to her. I would sit somewhere else with my spouse. Mm-hmm. You have to establish some control mechanism. For the NuCalm, that's an easy explanation. It has to be rescue, because rescue is the deepest, most restorative physics on the planet. We will take you to a place that's correlated to being a monk. That's where you want to be. You don't see monks beating each other up in a monastery. They're just not stressed, okay? So you want to do rescue, because if you do rescue, the most oxygen comes here. And remember, when oxygen is here, I am patient. I can see the person's buffoonery and stupid actions for what they are. I'm not pulled in, right? She's sitting there waiting. She can't wait to see you because she can't wait to torture you again, right? She's like, come sit next to me, reel you right in, right?
Yeah.
No, you do NuCalm and you will be patient and you will be separated from the emotional sabotage. And this, you have to do this first for a while. Do rescue every time. And you'll notice a difference. First time you'll notice, wow, I'm not easily triggered. Then we'll get to a place of confidence where you can do rescue and then ignite on the way so you can go in.
Yeah. So good.
You can turn the tables with ignite. You can walk in and say, this is going to end here.
Yeah, it needs to end. You know what? Where was NuCalm when I first became a stepmom? Man, I could have used that.
I hear that a lot. Trust me. I wish we were everywhere all the time to everybody, because there's such an opportunity to help so many people. And it really is simple in theory. If we can get rid of stress, you live a great life. It's just, how do we get the message to you? How do we get you to do it, right? That's amazing to me. We just signed one of the largest logistics companies in the world, all of their pilots, for pilot fatigue, safety, restorative sleep, expedited recovery, and well-being. But the challenge is, hey, these guys are pilots. So half of them came out of the Air Force and they're tough and they got an ego. And how do we help them? That's the challenge. We need to learn how to help ourselves, find a technology that works like you have. And NuCalm's cool. NuCalm is a tool. That's all it is. And it becomes a good tool for you because it becomes a confidant, because you know, and you've learned this, it will never let you down. Mm-hmm. I don't know of any other technology in the world that is so predictable. It simply does what it's intended to do. And it keeps you on a path. And the more you use it, you've probably noticed this, the more you use it, the less time you're in rescue. Because the more you use it, the more cumulative benefit you get. So the more you use this, it never stops working and it never stops creating what I call an accumulation of subtleties. Sometimes you'll have breakthroughs. I've had 2 major breakthroughs in 14 years where I stopped being scared of heights. I was scared of heights, like demonstrably crazy scared of heights. I'm no longer scared of heights. That's a miracle to me. It took 5 or 6 years. And I was scared of failure. One of the things that drove me as a type A, driven, ambitious CEO was fear of failure. I don't have that fear anymore, so I don't show up with expectation. I prepare for nothing and I show up for everything, and I love living like that. Because if we have expectations going to the arena, to the rink, and seeing that woman, if we have expectations, trust me, there's a lot of anticipatory anxiety that happens on the way to that. There's a lot of anticipatory anxiety when you wake up that day, and dread. That's no way to live. Stop giving that person power over your life and your joy. You didn't marry this person because you wanted to be tortured. You married this person because you fell in love with somebody. So stand aside, figure out that it's their issue, compartmentalize it, get yourself in a state of mindfulness through yoga, tai chi, meditation, deep breathing, or NuCalm, and get on with your life.
Preach it, Jim.
Let's go, people. Come on, ladies. Let's gather around here. Let's go. Let's go take on these crazy, nasty exes.
So good. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. This has been so good. And you guys have been a sponsor of the show for so long. Thank you so much for that. It feels so aligned for me because I'm so excited to tell everyone about my love for NuCalm. So we appreciate you.
We love people. We love stepmoms. We love helping people in complex psychological situations. And everybody deserves love and appreciation and acceptance. We get to acceptance, we all win.
So good.
So good luck at the hockey arena and take control. Take back control of your life.
That's it for this one. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you enjoyed this episode and know someone that it would resonate with, do me a favor and send it their way. And if you haven't already, head on over to iTunes and give the show a rating and a review. I am so passionate about opening up the conversation about blended family life and debunking the stigma that comes with being a stepmom. And you sharing this podcast helps me do just that. Now, if you're craving more podcast episodes and interviews, would like to connect with me and get access to workshops like how to disengage the right way, how to improve your relationship with your stepkids, how to talk to your partner about your stepfamily stress without causing a big-ass fight, and more, you have to check out my membership, the Kick-Ass Stepmom Community. Not only will this community give you access to strategies and tips to improve your stepfamily life, you can connect with me and stepmoms from over 30 countries around the world in our private chat and our live Q&As. Head to www.kickassstepmom.com to join.